5 p.m. Regular meeting this time. Thank goodness it's not a special meeting. Anyway, the proposed agenda is follows. Call to order. Bill.
Here.
Glenn.
Here.
Gene.
Here.
Alex.
Here.
All's here. Consideration of roll call. Anybody want to change anything or add anything?
I move to approve the agenda as presented.
Second. Second, any more discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Approval of minutes. Does everybody read the minutes?
Yep.
Satisfied with them?
I would like in the future a little more discussion of the items where there's active debate among the board. A couple of the items in these minutes were kind of cursory coverage of some very interesting debates. I think it's useful in the future when people go back and look at the minutes, if they understand what the different positions that were discussed, rather than it seeming like the board didn't talk about the issue at all. So I'm willing to approve the minutes as they're presented because they're accurate, but I think we could have more thorough coverage when there is an active debate among the board members.
Right, but haven't we discussed this like twice before? And since we've gone to recording, you can just actually go and watch the debate, and that we didn't. I mean, unless you as secretary want to actually do that, if you want to kind of listen and transcribe and summarize the debates, you're very good at that, that's fine. But I don't want the staff to have to do that, because you can just go watch. I think people have been watching for not only education, but entertainment.
Yeah, I would think.
And I think the paper kind of puts every word in there, right, Alex?
On occasion. On occasion. I'd second that motion.
Okay. Okay.
Did I make a motion to approve the minutes? I think I did.
Yeah, you
I
did.
think I made a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
Okay. Any more discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion. Okay, public comment. Anybody want to make a public comment? Yes, sir.
Yes, I do. Hi, Carl Young, 32 Holiday Avenue. As you know, I'm running for the PAWSD board, and people have been asking me, where can I get information about the election? And there's nothing on the PAWSD website about the election.
It's a secret ballot.
Well, I was going to say, I've heard of a secret ballot, but not a secret election. So we were thinking along the same lines.
Good question. Who can answer that?
Well, I don't know that like civic organizations, other than saying we have an election, that would be worthwhile to put there. Actually, like advertise the election.
No, on
And
posting
also
on
in the
your
sense that-
website, which should be free, right? No out-of-pocket cost, letting people know.
When do we expect our ballots? When do we I see video.
Our audio, so yeah, video to the board.
What I would recommend in that case is take the actual notice that was put in the paper of the election and put that notice on the website as well.
Okay, so
Yeah.
then people could see that and then call, if they don't get their ballot and they're expecting it. If they, when should they expect their ballots? I've been asking that and not gotten an answer. So, I'm just asking in the name of transparency and for all the candidates.
Yeah, and it should be, if you go to the Secretary of State's website, it should, there's a date by which they really should. It might be the 17th, but that's kind of between the 9th and the 17th.
Exactly, but you approved a $70,000 contract with a company to print and mail ballots, and so they obviously have a contract that's got a mail date in it, print and mail date.
No, they just have to adhere to the state, they have to adhere to the state standards, yeah.
I think there's a window 14th to the 21st. It has to go out,
Right.
but that should be on the website. I agree. That's a good comment.
Gene, you have a comment?
Unless you're not done, Carl.
Oh, I'm done, thanks.
Speaking of website, I guess I'd like to ask, on your website, PAWSD.info, there was a comment made, that says well, first of all, did you receive an email with the reports that we have sent to the Colorado Water Conservation Board concerning all the money that has been spent on finding leaks and water reduction?
No,
I believe you did. I sent it directly to you.
okay,
PAWSD is mandated under an agreement with the state to utilize all the money they save each year in payments to the state to reduce those losses. They aren't doing it.
who said that?
One of you, the board members of the Conservancy District,
Okay, why are you asking me about that?
because it's your website.
So if somebody makes a comment on my website and I'm responsible for it.
I would think you'd probably be responsible to correct it if it's wrong. It's just a question. If you don't feel that it needs to be addressed, that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, I got tons of questions, Gene. I mean, I keep looking for a master plan on, when you're gonna build things, like connect the,
Sure, and
things, and,
I'm sure at some point, we can get that to you, but I'm just saying that that's a lie.
okay, I'm sorry, this person who posted on my website is lying. And would you tell me that person's name so I can connect them?
It's Rob Profit for sure.
Okay,
But it's still on your website as of 30 minutes ago. So
okay.
anybody who believes that is misinformed. That's all I'm saying.
Well, I will go back and try to find that email and post it as a response. How about that? Would that be satisfactory?
Yeah, that's up to you. It's your website.
Well, no, I'm not. You're the one who's complaining, not me. Could I have would that be satisfactory? I'm trying to.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you. I'll do that.
It's not true.
Okay.
And then going back to the other concern, it's like, websites are of interest to people like me, people like you. They're not going to very effectively get the word out if you actually look at traffic.
Yeah.
I wonder if we want to just go a little bit extra and just drop an ad in the Sun saying the election's on, you'll be receiving your ballot sometime soon. That would get out to everybody.
Thousands of
500 times more people probably than the website. Not that we shouldn't do the website, but maybe we go a little bit beyond that and just drop an ad in the Sun, letting sure know your ballot will be arriving.
Sure.
And I wonder, and this may be a question for
Yeah.
Renee. If somebody doesn't get their ballot, who do they go to? Cause I don't know that answer.
Exactly.
Does that go to our consultant? And do we put their contact information in that ad or website, in your website?
Yes, yes. And there's also a notice that went in the legals, a pretty comprehensive notice regarding absentee replacement. That terminology is a little interchangeable, replacement ballots. And initially it does go to the to Public Alliance, and it has their contact information. And then the day of the election, it will be me from 7 to 7 at 100 Lynn Avenue. And again, that notice went out today in the Sun, and I am emailing it right now to Aaron to put up on the website.
And anybody who's ever helped with an election, especially a primary election, and had to tell many people, often scores of people, that they're not eligible to vote, that is like one of the most unpleasant tasks to have.
Yep.
So I'm glad I don't have to do that. And because it's, we're looking for a volunteer. Yeah. So.
Carl, anything else?
No, thanks. I just wanted to bring that up. That's it.
Thanks for bringing that up.
Appreciate
Thank
your
you. Yeah, thank
consideration.
you.
Thanks.
Any other? Okay, anybody on stop Zoom, what are we calling this now?
Sneeze.
Just got Marcus.
All right, let's move right along. Okay, who wants to read this next part?
It's your last shot, Jim.
Oh. Okay. All right, consideration of an executive session to discuss the potential sale of running Iron Ranch, the agreement to restrict Colorado Water Conservancy Board Dry Gulch Reservoir Loan Contract number C150261 between the district and the San Juan Water Conservancy District and the Colorado Water Conservancy Board and pending litigation case number 24CV 369 related thereto, together the subject matter. Pursuant to CRS section 24-6-402, parentheses 4, a concerning the purchase, acquisition, lease, transfer, or sale of any real property or other property interest. CRS section 24-6-42, parentheses 4B, for the purpose of receiving legal advice on specific legal questions from the district general counsel on the subject matter, and CRS section 24-6-402-4E to determine positions related to matters that may be subject to negotiation, developing strategically for negotiations and instructing negotiations with respect to the subject matter. I need a motion if we're going to do this.
So moved.
All right, motion made and seconded. Any more discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, folks, thank you. We'll go into the executive session.
Okay. I was gonna say, in the future, just a bug in our ear, we might want to, when we know we have an executive session, maybe schedule it at 4:30 and have it separate. And then start the meeting at 5. That way folks don't have to go out.
That's a good idea. Depends on who's sitting there.
Yeah, and you can't put it at the end because then the Lord, they don't know whether the meeting's at Josh or at 5, so.
Let's tell Josh, explain to Josh what we're doing, that just me.
Okay. Hey, Josh, can you hear us? This mic has the little cross on its mute.
Got to get them off.
Mike, you're mute, or I'm sorry, Josh, you're muted if you can hear us. Okay. If you get this, our only choice is to remove you from the meeting while we go into executive session, so, you can jump back on and we'll let you in once the meeting's over. It's just an here and there. All right, we've got everybody out of the waiting room and out of the.
That's definitely a negative compared to Zoom.
Yeah,
Yeah, there should be an option of just moving to the waiting room.
Yeah, that's,
it may have less functionality in that respect. I think it's much better for like getting 5 people together to discuss something. But then they have less functionality for all the raise hand. I don't know if they have a.
It's got that, it's got chat. But we'll look into this.
Okay, Marcus, are you there?
I'm here.
Good, Dale, thank you. We're gonna turn this over to you.
I just haven't talked to you in a bit, and I thought it would be good to touch base on the Running Iron Ranch litigation.
Marcus?
Yep.
Real quick, oh, should we turn off the recording now, or we're always confused on the recording thing?
No, I appreciate that. So the remainder of the executive session will constitute attorney-client privilege communications, and therefore you can turn off the recording at this time. Thanks, Justin.
Today, it was teed up and ready to go, but he didn't want to step up to the tee box at Augusta and hit the drive. He wanted to see if he could just. And
And I see his point too, even though I thought he was okay with it a month or two ago.
yeah,
I see his point. I think he would be okay with it. That's valid.
Okay.
Okay, so we're gonna discuss Well, we'll wait until the public comes back in.
No, we don't have to.
Oh, somebody's coming back in.
Yeah, we'll show them that.
Justin, did you still want me to take the lead on this one?
Please.
Okay,
This is Gil.
I'm ready to go?
No, not yet. We have
Okay.
a member of the public returning.
Two of them. Marcus, in the future, would it work well for you if, for instance, we scheduled, if we know we're going to have a significant discussion, we schedule the executive session, say to begin at 4 o'clock, running to 5, and then we start. That way the public knows, hey, they're having an executive session. Don't have to really show up till 5, but we don't have to send them out and call them at the end. And
Whatever works for you guys works for me.
Okay.
I typically presume you're gonna need me for like an hour. So if you think there is enough on the agenda concerning me that it's gonna go longer than an hour, just let me know that so I can make sure I've got adequate time to help you.
Okay,
We're back in session.
we're back in session.
Ready to go?
Like to-
Okay,
Session, at which no decisions are made.
Okay. We're gonna talk about item 7, is this correct?
Yes, sir.
so fire flow, discussion regarding some fire flow issues that have come up. In the past
Yes.
couple of larger projects, there's an international fire code standard for each of the projects in different ways. What we've come across over like at least 3 times in the last 9 months or so is the fire department gives us their fire flow, which is the pressure and the flow time, the duration, and it's based on the project and the International Fire Code. Then we go to run the model and we get the modeling results, and generally it usually brings up the fact that you're not going to meet that. And then we go out and we actually physically test the lines or the hydrants or whatever it is with the fire department. And if it comes in a little low or quite a bit low, sometimes the fire department says, well, that's good enough. But they've not really been wanting to then resubmit their paperwork with regards to, or provide a letter with regards to their approval of a lower pressure or, a standard that's lower than International Fire Code. So I know that I've had some board members that have been concerned about this. We've had this come up again most recently. And so we wanted to ask you, Marcus, what would be the best way, or what kind of language would you like to see, or a form that we would have to basically cover the district if anything were to happen? I know that it's not going to be entirely covering the district, but what you would like to see in those instances.
So a few responses from me. First and foremost, and most importantly, fire protection is the mission, obligation, and responsibility of the fire district. And, the public should have a very clear understanding of that. It is not this district's mission, obligation, or responsibility. However, we are a public agency, and the fire district is a public agency, and to the extent that we can cooperate and help, we should. However, in doing so, it is very helpful to the district to have clear guidance from the fire district as to what they would like help with. So we have a rule on point right now. It is 2.39 in your rules and regulations, and the relevant portion of that rule says, if the fire protection if the fire protection agency with jurisdiction over the property served requires specific fire flows and residual pressures, The district will seek to meet such criteria for the properties affected if deemed physically and economically feasible by the district in its sole discretion. And what that last clause recognizes is that, we've got lots of different mouths to feed and lots of different responsibilities, providing water, providing wastewater treatment services, et cetera. And, if the fire district wants specific fire flows met, and it makes that a requirement of its approval of a particular project, any costs associated with meeting that requirement is not the districts, it is the developers. And so that's a long way of answering your question, Renee. But the most direct answer I can provide you is that if you guys think that there is any misunderstanding in the public about what the respective responsibilities of the water and sanitation district is on the one hand versus the fire protection district is on the other hand, then we should add a provision in our rules clearly setting forth what we will and will not do. And we could add that to 2.39 or make it a separate rule. And we should also put notice of those respective obligations and what we will or won't do on the website, so that the public has no misunderstanding whatsoever that this is the responsibility of the fire district. And if the fire district, can't provide clear guidance to us about what it's requiring or what it, isn't, ultimately that's on the fire district.
But my concern with this whole thing is, we get a document from the fire department saying they need 2,000 gallons per minute to fight this fire. We only have 1,000. Fire department says that 1,000's fine, but they don't give it to us in writing. 10 years from now, the building burns down and the fire department then blames us. Well, if we didn't have 2,000, we said we wanted 2,000. I would just like to see something in writing saying, hey, because, Marcus, if somebody's building burns down, they're gonna sue everybody, including us. And I can just see the fire department throwing that back in our face. That we got a written document saying you needed 2,000, you guys let these guys build with only 1,000, and we said it needed 2. And so I'm just concerned when they just do the slap on the back, the good old boy thing, that we're gonna get held, stuck holding the bag.
I absolutely agree with you, Justin. I mean, it has to be in writing. If they say we need 2,000, and we write back and say, we can't provide 2,000, and they say, okay, don't worry about it, 1,000's okay. All of that's got to be in writing. I mean, because you're right. I mean, it's 2025, and if something happens, God forbid, everybody's getting sued. And the paper trail should be consistent with my comments, and that it's the fire district's responsibility, and to the extent that they require, because they can, that there are improvements made, such that their required fire flows are met. That's not our cost. That's developer's cost, or a homeowner's cost for that matter.
So
I think I know how this works. Correct me if I'm wrong. Whether it's in the county or the town, La Plata has to give the county or the town a letter saying, yeah, we can, no, we can't. Natural gas, everybody. We also have to give the county or the town planner a letter. Let's just not give them that letter until we get a letter from the fire district. Problem solved.
But no.
Yeah.
So that may,
Because my recollection in years past, I think 100% of the time, all commercial must be sprinklered. Not true for residential, but let's say timbers or whatever it's called, 50 housing units. They require 2,000, we've only got 1,000.
they can sprinkle.
The city or the county can make them sprinkler. They have that authority. So I don't see it as a huge deal.
No, it don't be, I would like it rule it that maybe we do a rule change to say, because it gets turned on as though we're the bad guy, but
Yeah.
that's okay. PAWSD is making you not, have
Okay,
problems.
Lance?
So now I have longer term concerns. Is that if we have a fire department, or maybe even just one person in the fire department, who's very cooperative and maybe too cooperative with developers. I'm not anti-developer, but I'm not rolled over and let's subsidize developers. Do we want to accept that good enough is good enough for us? I mean, if you go to, you know, you usually exhibit B of whatever fire code, and it says that you have this number, you know, it's multifamily or it's commercial, it's this number of square feet. You have to have 1,750 gallons per minute, at, you know, 20 PSI above residual. And we enforce that?
I don't want to, because I don't think we have the expertise to do that. The way the rule's gonna say, it says in the fire code is you have to have 1,750 or as required by the person in jurisdictional charge. So if the code itself tells the fire department, you can pick whatever you want. Here's our argument, you can pick whatever you want, and they're the.
No, there are
it's either
conditions,
they're the
right? It's
experts, yeah.
supposed to be rural, difficult.
Yeah.
But they can't develop without his letter to the county or the town.
Right, but okay, so then we don't want to enforce what we would regard as, or what the industry regards as actual professional standards if the fire district is happy with lower standards.
That's their.
Then, well, it's their job, but, you know, it's their job until there's a fire and there's a bill in Denver, and then all of a sudden, it's our responsibility to get all of those multifamily and commercial
Even if we've
units.
got a letter. in a
Even if we
file.
got, even if we have a letter on file.
Well, different to anybody.
But I would, if what we're gonna do is just say, we can't go forward until the fire district either applies the 1,750 gallons or exercises its discretion and requires a lower figure. Until we have to get a bulletproof letter from them at a minimum saying, and explaining in that letter that despite, you know, it can't just be, it's gotta be a letter that actually calls out what the standard is, their willingness to prescribe a lower standard, and maybe even some kind of rationale for why that's appropriate. And we have to, you know,
Well, I
I
guess,
mean, in my opinion, I think.
I agree.
So we just want to be sued.
last week, you guys said, we decided I was gonna reach out to the fire department. I have not heard back from them yet. When I do hear back from them, is this something we may want to include? We discuss the hydrants and then have a sit-down discussion with them about this, say, hey, we need guidance from the fire marshal's office. You know, not wishy-washy, hard facts. We don't want responsibility for this. This is your problem.
Well, not just the fire marshal, though, it needs to be governor approved, I think.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, but they need to direct the fire marshal's
Yeah,
office to.
he's the one who's.
Right. Well, that's
enforce it, yeah.
If I
Well-
could, if I could, that's case one where somebody's developing within the district. Case two, which is, might become more common, is somebody's including into the district. Inclusions, okay, they could be jigsaw inclusions, they could, but often they're at the end of the line and they're pushing further and further into the forest. Under our powers over inclusion agreements, in the inclusion setting, can we simply say, no, if it's brand new, it's a brand new development, we need you to adhere to Exhibit B. We're not accepting any of this discretion because we have an awful lot of legal authority over inclusions. I'm not really that anxious to include more and more developments that can't meet the standard.
Well, and case in point. Elk Park Ranches. There's an 8-foot tall water tank up there. And not much water in it because CDPHE and the EPA, it's not their job, nor do they know anything about fire. They want good, clean, potable water. If we build everything to fire standards, we need much larger tanks, much larger pipes feeding those tanks. And by the time that water gets to their house, it doesn't meet CDPHE or EPA standards. That's the problem. Like, good, bad, or indifferent, we can't serve two masters. We can only serve one legally. My point.
Well, but I mean, legally, if the fire district has the discretion under the International Fire Code, and they do, you know, I think they do at least strongly suggest that the fire district would articulate the reasons why you don't need the standard. But I think under the inclusion, whether we decide as a district to take on an inclusion, I think there we can set all sorts of standards that we require, like we set standards on, the one down, just beside town. You know, they would.
Yeah, I guess my point is, that if I heard you right, you're saying, we're not gonna provide anything less, we're gonna provide whatever you wanna call that, exhibit B.
Yeah, if you want to subdivide 50 lots further into the forest,
Hmm.
you know,
You, the developer.
You, the developer, are gonna have to-
System to meet that.
pick the standard, even if we might be struggling,
It's impossible, it can't be done.
well, then it can't be built. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Do we think fire safety is the highest
As long as
priority?
everybody understands the reason it can't be done is because potability trumps fire. Fortunately, unfortunately, potability
And
is
long-term
the
storage.
law that we must,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, so I'm
Okay.
just saying, is that, I don't know, I was just asking whether that's, in my kind of legal dummy way, I think we do actually have in the inclusion contract negotiations, a lot of leverage to ask for
Conditions of inclusion, yeah.
better developments than maybe that you can ask for within the district, where it's really the building department and the planning department and the fire department that should be giving us our marching orders, and we're like, okay. Anyway, it's just because we did deal, right? We dealt with a subdivision that was an inclusion, water only, and can we get fire flow to, what was it like? 10 of the 12 lots, or 11 of the 12 lots, or 9 of the 12 lots, and maybe we just say, no, you just have to get fire flow to all 12 of the lots. And if you have to build a water tank to provide the supplementary water, then that's what you gotta do, you know?
And
As long
Gene's
as
saying-
potability
Gene's
can be
saying-
met.
No, not a total, yeah.
He's saying a separate water
Potability
tank.
is got to be, it's
Yeah,
not because I want it to be, it's law. Now, and how would what would be our basis to prove potability? Water range? And what,
Chlorine residual.
right.
but before we get it built,
Oh, we run the model had cycles. One of the things the model shows is tank cycles.
pouring declination,
And there's standing, you don't want that tank cycling every,
Yeah.
3 times a day.
so
And
as
you
long
want it
as,
basically
as
3
long
times
as
a
we
month.
can meet that under those fire flow
Yeah.
requirements, are good.
Just to be clear, the developer can, that, it's on their coin.
Mhm.
And if it can't, then we just have to say, well, you can't build a house on in every forest. There are limits to growth.
And that's why,
The infrastructure costs of supporting growth has tripled or quadrupled. So those limits are very real. And if the community really feels that fire safety is a top priority, then, seems to me like a rational response from us if we're considering inclusions that are further and further away from.
I just
from our
don't-
water plans.
I just don't want the district deciding what adequate fire flows are, whether it's in an inclusion context or otherwise. That's not our call. We don't have that expertise. Could you include as a condition of inclusion, a requirement that the developer meet certain fire flows, where those fire flows have been provided to us by the fire protection district? Of course. I just don't want us coming up with it ourselves. It's not our role.
and I think unfortunately, and maybe sometimes even embarrassingly, I have talked to old firefighter friends of mine, for a number of years. A lot of people in the public, including some of them, believe it's the water department's responsibility to give them all the water they need all the time. I wish we could, but we can't. Just a comment.
Yes. Good comment.
Mr. Chair, if you guys are done with me,
Yes.
may I please be excused?
Yes. Yes, you can. Thank you.
So is the
Thanks,
consensus,
Thank you,
Thanks,
guys.
Marcus.
Have a wonderful night.
You
is the
too.
consensus that we just need to get clear bulletproof directions from the fire district?
Right, you have to have it.
Yeah.
No question about it.
We've
Okay.
it's been getting better. The working
Good.
relationship, and I just recently got today, a letter that, I think I should probably, I think we should send it to Marcus to see if, where it's another instance where the fire code says one thing and, what's achievable in the current infrastructure setup is less, not substantially, but the fire department is willing to sign off on it. And so I'd like to send that letter to Marcus and try to get his feedback on the content and where it could be firmed up if need be.
Great.
I agree. Consent? Consent?
Yeah, I'd like to see the format of the letter or some sense, because I would really like to be very strong.
Yeah.
Like if you're gonna tell us we can service a new subdivision or a new commercial development, and you're saying you don't need 1,750 gallons per minute, 1,000 will. Well, I'd like to see some articulated reason why that would suffice. Because, you
And
know.
until we get that, we can't approve the subdivision.
Right,
Yeah,
exactly.
Well, yeah. So what that generally real life lends to is pause holding up the development. So just want to let you guys know that we do take a lot of heat for that. And I don't mind taking the heat at all, but then it'll be transferred to the board, because of the way that it's set up without, like Glenn said, without the articulation, or, I mean, this is actually the best letter we've gotten in our interactions over the last 9 months regarding this. Without, all of those things, it really pushes the burden back to PAWS. And then we become the bad guy who's holding up their development.
Okay, so you're not the bad guy, Renee. When you run into this situation, you just tell them, come to the board meeting, because we like being the bad guys. I mean, that's our job,
well, I would love to be the bad guy in a circumstance where public figures who have stated that fire safety is the highest priority and that money is no object, and they walk in that door and say, we want you to approve this new development with half the recommended fire flow, because growth and sales tax revenue is really the highest priority. So I'll
You're gonna be the bad guy no matter what.
That's right.
so,
In, what do you call it? In growth?
Yeah.
Growth within
Yeah.
is so much
Infill.
better than outside.
Well, thank you.
Okay,
Thanks, Renee.
Thanks, Renee.
thanks.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get it to a place where it can be well presented to all of you, and navigating that in the best way possible. So thank you for your help. I appreciate it.
All right, thank you. Item number 8, consideration of thank you letter, DOLA, on that $1 million.
So I'll take this one on. So we received notification about the 3rd week of March that we were awarded the full $1 million for the Vista wastewater treatment plant construction for the nutrients removal. And then we received the executed award at the very end of March. And so I just drafted a quick letter. I'm open to comments. If you guys would prefer to get back to me later, there's no timeliness necessarily to this, but I just thought it would be a good form to. DOLA's been very supportive of all of our projects.
Go ahead.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I would like to make a motion that we accept the letter staff has produced. And go ahead and send it out, but I'd like to annotate it by saying these two people did a stellar job, and with a capital S.
Yeah.
Thank you to our staff for that.
Yes,
That was excellent work that you guys did.
Absolutely. So my motion is to accept the letter as submitted.
Second,
Second.
okay, any more discussion? If not, all in favor? Aye. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, discussion regarding update of LITPE projects monthly billing subcommittee.
You want to take this, Bill, or do you want me to take this?
We could tag team.
So Bill and I, had some discussions about this. I think the recommendation that we are going to make to the board, correct me if I'm wrong here, is this, first off, this is the last meeting before an election. We got 3 seats open. I think that we should wait till after the election to make a final decision on this. But I think that we need to take a look at how we're charging EUs. I know that that's been brought up a lot, but going from 80 or from 51 EUs down to 8 is not reasonable. And as Glenn mentioned in the last meeting, I watched that whole meeting when we discussed this. Glenn had pointed out that we gave them significant discounts with the understanding that we were going to recoup our money and be made somewhat whole in the future. And I don't see that we can go with what they want, but going forward as a new board, I think we should address how we're looking at EUs, a 7-bedroom house, a lodge that's the family comes and visits every weekend, is a little bit different than a 400 square foot apartment. So going forward, I think we should address that from that angle, but not specifically on light tech projects. Because I think it could be a conflict of interest and open us up to a lot of other affordable housing demands based on what we did for the light tech project.
So I just want to add a couple of thoughts to that accurate description of what we discussed. As Alex said, a 400 square foot tiny home is a different animal from a 5 or 6 bedroom mansion. And I understand that PAWSD had to simplify the way that billing is done, just because we have 9,000 customers and going in and assessing each house and saying, okay, this is a 4-bedroom, this is a 5-bedroom, this is a 1-bedroom, this is a studio. It is going to be a massive job to change over from just having 1 EU for any dwelling. And so if we discuss this and we say that's impractical, there's no way that our staff can adjust that. An alternative would be, is there a deed restriction on this property? And should there be an allowance for a low income family? And so that's an alternative to what Alex and I had sort of just talked about, was really taking a hard look at how we rate EUs. And at this point, I agree that we're not going to look at this until after the election.
I'm not necessarily promoting any of those ideas. I think we should have the discussion after the election.
Are you suggesting maybe to shift from impact fees over to monthly service charges, or?
I'm not suggesting anything.
Yeah,
right now.
we're just suggesting we discuss this.
I think it's worth a conversation this year.
Yeah.
Right, and it's really 2 conversations, because again, this is another issue where the lack of sewer meters is the critical missing component.
Yeah.
Right, because on the water side of things, we have a meter and we bill. And then when you go up above 8,000 gallons a month, then you pay pretty steep penalties. So even in that 4 or 5 bedroom house scenario, there's something that's actually monitoring that usage. Whereas the 4 or 5 bedroom house and the toilet and the 300 square foot efficiency apartment as well, though it's hard to justify that that's the same impact on our system. Though, it's going to be a question of how you want to how you want to mount.
Bouncing
It's
off
gonna
of
be
that.
hard, really hard, almost impossible to make it completely equitable.
Well, bouncing off of that, I mean, Glenn's right. We are monitoring the water usage
Mhm.
already. But if I'm in a 400 square foot apartment,
Mhm.
and I'm in a 5,000 square foot mansion, my outdoor water use
Yes.
is gonna be different. Am I an EU, even in that tiny place? And this guy is an EU, in this mansion? It's worth a conversation.
Yeah.
We don't have a
Right,
definite
but on the
idea.
water side of things, you have so many more tools. For instance, I would make the case that having an 8,000 gallon, 8,000 gallons being the point at which you pay penalty rates in July makes sense. In December, it makes no sense to me at all.
Right.
I could see where we could move to, a winter time. We could almost have the amount of water. Cause I don't know, I use 3 people in my house who use 800 gallons a month. So, I mean, other districts do that too. So you have so many more tools on the water side of things. And on the wastewater, you're gonna have unfairnesses however you choose.
Yeah.
And some districts do, they say a studio is 0.5 a year, a 1 or 2 bedroom is, a 1 bedroom is 0.75, 2 or 3 is 1, and then you're gonna get a 0.5 for each additional bedroom. That's pretty common, actually, if you look at the 15 comparable districts. So there are ways to do that. But
And the other point with this specific question that came to us was, we have 1 meter, we're serving 50 units. How are you gonna charge us? We're not charging the individual customers, I mean, the individual residents of this building. We're charging this meter. And that's where we could have a good discussion about how do we charge that meter for an affordable housing complex.
Well, I want to thank you two for getting together to do this. And, somebody needs to let people that, is waiting on the answer that you're gonna have another meeting on this.
I give them a call.
Okay.
I mean, I think for their purposes, every unit's gonna be paying their bill.
Yeah.
For the foreseeable future,
Yes.
because once you dig, if the board decides to go into this. And if you were to go say, look at, Rifle and take a look at the way, Breckenridge and see how they break it out. It's like, it's a serious undertaking,
It is.
So anyway, y'all could set that up next month, I guess, couldn't you?
Well, we can continue. I mean, it's gonna be a long-term discussion, I think.
And a new board.
And
We got a new board, yeah. Okay.
Alex, do you want me to let Chris Applequist know that you will be reaching out to him? I can shoot him a quick email.
Good.
Oh, yeah, that'd be great.
And
Okay.
copy Alex on it.
I will. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Manager's talking points.
Manager doesn't have a voice.
I'm gonna let Aaron take that on.
So in front of you, you've got water loss reports for March and February. And Justin asked me to point out the decline in the per minute, gallons per minute amount from February to March. We had, and I think we spoke about this in the last meeting, we had a lot of frozen meter
Yeah, but
issues.
they jump up and then the decline.
Yeah, so we're in the midst of, and have been in the midst for a few weeks now, of repairing those frozen meters, and it's done. There's still some more work to do, but you can already tell from the report that it's a spike right down from the February report.
what percentage of frozen meters would you say we've tackled so far?
I don't know.
Okay,
Find out.
The only data I have on that is downtown, they looked at, to try to figure this out, they looked at meters that were reported 0.
Right.
And they had 60 downtown that meters that were now reported 0. Sent the guys out 25, so this is the first round, so this happened a while ago. Out of that 60 meters, 25 were leaking.
Right.
That's a pretty damn high percentage.
We found about another 20 gallons per minute yesterday.
Under the church.
Is
That one on, right there in front of Subway.
Right.
That one got addressed too.
Yeah, fortunately that was the meter. That was just a leak in the thing before. We kind of pushed that off until the highway started. So as soon as they cut the asphalt out, we were able to get in there, which was, so we had to let it run for a little longer than we wanted to, but it saved a hell of a lot of money not having to cut the asphalt. We do that in coordination with the repaving.
And this obviously can be, I mean, the best place to start is right there, those, you know, those meters that record zero usage. But still doesn't mean that we're probably not gonna have to touch every meter eventually, because freezing smaller break, the person's using 1,000 gallons a month, but they're actually getting billed for 13, you know, or not even, it's on the other side. It's on,
When that meter blows out,
yeah, it's on the other side of the,
right, that plate right there in front of you,
Oh, it's cracked.
that's what happens.
right.
And so all the water just drains out.
It's supposed to do that.
It's supposed to.
It's supposed to crack.
Yes.
Right.
If it doesn't, the
Then-
several $100 meter hits it.
Right.
And the one we got,
you just gotta replace
that. Before the meter, so it was lost revenue.
There, pass that.
Okay. Thank you. What else you got?
That's the snowballs coming along. You guys should get out there. It looks like a water plant.
All right.
We're in the heart of, we're gonna start up operations up on it, next month, end of next month, early June.
Into the testing.
Start testing, and, when I say operate, that's start getting the HVAC working. Well, there's a lot to it, so it's not like, but yeah, it's all going forward.
Okay, I want to report on our committee meeting we had out at the ranch. Ben Bill was there, a couple was there. We looked at the situation, and it was kind of agreed among us all that we would not water this year. And maybe an option to be, we heard some things that I found that's not quite right about cattle. They don't, person that's got that BLM lease called me, Montero. He's a brand inspector also. He said that fence can be fixed with T-posts, but he says the forest department doesn't want us to run any cattle up there in the summer because it's too dry. And so that would take care of his cattle, and then, Mill Creek Ranch, sold by this guy in Lubbock, they're not gonna run any cattle, that joins it also. So he said there's just one guy that had a few head of cattle that might run it, but he doubts if he does either. I guess it's probably individually owned, but he said he didn't have any head. But the committee kind of thought about the way to handle this deal is to fence off that meadow in the future, so that you won't have cattle that when you start grazing it can come down and destroy or do damage to the water ditches. There's nothing else really in the cattle and hurt if you look at everything. And one thing I have a concern about, you need to spray the weeds regardless, and that's going to cost about $30 an acre. It could run up to about $4,000 bill. And if you're going to do that, we got to let our weed guy know, Ethan, know as soon as possible so he can get a date so they can get there and spray the shirt. And so the question is, do we want to go ahead and set a date? Tell them, last of 1st of June or middle of June, get that sprayed, or what do you want to do? I mean,
I mean, it's been.
hadn't been sprayed in 2 years.
Right, it hasn't been.
Maybe
sprayed.
3.
Right,
And it was supposed to be. And if y'all remember, when we let the cattle over there, they was gonna spray the weeds. Well, that didn't happen.
yeah, so a lot didn't happen,
A lot didn't happen.
so.
I think that decision has to be coordinated to stand more.
Right, but we make our decision, right, and say this is our recommendation. If they agree, then we go forward. If we don't, then we could meet. The subcommittee could meet too and say, hey, what's the issue here? And there may be a. Yeah, I think, but I mean, I would agree from our half of the decision. I think actually, spraying for weeds this year is long
Right.
overdue, and
Long overdue, and that'll destroy that meadow more, faster than anything. And the group just said, well, we won't even irrigate and let the water go on down to the other ranchers.
which this year might be a very neighborly thing to do, because we're not to grow grass so that it could, I mean, obviously there's a certain fertilizer quality there, but just to let the water go to the folks whose
Right.
livelihoods depend on it. It seems like a better thing to do this year and to
Exactly.
have a nice lawn.
Mhm.
Right.
So just one little detail that was
Yeah.
left out was the meeting up there at the ranch. We sort of agreed that we should fix the fence. But now, what Jim's found out is probably don't need to fix the
Yeah.
fence this year.
Right. You don't have it in the budget, you can put it in the budget, next year. But it's gonna cost, about $5,000 a mile
Chuck was gonna get back to us with that, right? Or at least
for the material. And it's probably gonna cost you $2 a foot to have it done.
Mhm.
So you're looking at a lot of dollars, maybe $16,000 a mile. And Chuck was gonna check and see, which kind of estimating is gonna be 3 miles around that to see, but there's plenty of time to check all that out.
And the residents that's ready to be torn down, what do we want to do with that?
That's the other thing, we didn't. Who's gonna do it? I thought Andy was gonna do that.
Well, they'll do it for $30,000.
Now, was that the one that could be then burned, or is that $30,000 including the?
That's everything.
How widely did we advertise that?
I haven't advertised it at all.
Yeah, I think that would be a good one to put out to bid, because that's not it's a pretty straightforward house. So it's a pull and a burn, and
I was gonna say, is there asbestos in that house doing?
We already probably kind of taken care of that.
Maybe we make the fire department a nice gesture and say,
We did.
I
We
won't
said,
do it.
no, thanks.
really? Wow, I mean, we used to do that quite a bit. It's kind of surprising. Okay.
oh, maybe they would do it for a better price. I understand that you would think that, in a spirit of cooperation, it might be done for 0, but if the best bid we can get is 21 and the fire department says, well, we can do it for
Well, that's not just burning it down, it's then take the unburned parts of the dump and then
Right.
filling in the void and all that stuff. So
Right.
there's other stuff there too. I can talk to, but there was no discussion on price. They quickly said, no, we don't do that.
Right. I think we're gonna have some material up there for filling in voids.
We got plenty of
We got a lot of material.
My old house. Hell, yeah. At least 4 or 5 of them.
So, anyway, it was a good meeting. Everybody, so Carl, what do you
We
think?
would need to, if we go up to bid or whatever, we also need San Juan approval.
No. That's my story.
You sticking to it?
I'm sticking to it.
Move to adjourn?
Do I have? a
Oh, I have
motion?
one more thing, please.
Yes, go ahead.
We need to reschedule the May meeting to accommodate for the election and final counting. The original date would be May 8th. But our UACAVA ballots, we have to wait for all of those to come in, and you can count those through close of business on the 14th of May. So the 4th Thursday might give us enough time to finalize all of the election results, which is May 22nd. As once we have the final UACAVAs in and we canvass, that will take a little time. We could make it happen on the 15th. But Justin will still be out most likely, and that might be a tight turnaround. So the 15th is a third Thursday, and I believe Bill prefers not to do things on the third Thursday.
Is that
I'm
what I?
You had an existing meeting that you like to go to, you said at one time.
No, actually, that's the town council and they moved all their meetings to Tuesday. So that's
okay.
no longer valid.
I like it very much. Not only it gives you time for the complete election results, but then gives us more time to have one more special meeting, which I would like to hold at a local restaurant and invite all the public, if they want to come, to,
A retirement party?
to thank Jim for all his years of service. So, so I like the later in May, because then maybe we'll be able to get a date where everyone can show
Okay,
up.
sounds good.
All right?
Yeah.
So let's
Okay.
shoot for the meeting on the 22nd then.
Okay, thank you very much.
Does that
And
sound
then
good?
I need one board member, a sitting board member to canvass with the election firm, most likely the afternoon of the 15th, and that would be obviously remote, but I'll have the finalized documents from them. They'll be signed by them, and then my one board member, and I'll need to find one eligible elector to remote in, review the paperwork, and then sign the copies in front of them. And they can be, obviously, if we need to change them, we can change them during that time period. But typically the canvassing is pretty well done, completed, everything wrapped up. And it's just 15 minutes or so.
Well, I'll volunteer, but if any of the candidates are not happy with my volunteering, then I will happily step aside. No, I mean, I think I think it's a big issue, but if it's an issue, it's an issue, so.
Well, you say on the 15th, Renee?
Yeah, but it can't be you because you're running. It would need to be one of my two sitting board members, but thank you, Jean. I appreciate that. Would need to be either Bill or Glenn. Yeah.
Okay, all in favor of Glenn?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. I will be in touch, Glenn, regarding that schedule.
Thank you for your service.
Yes, thank you for your service. Thank you for all you guys' service.
Thank you for your service, Jim.
We had a really good
Thank you,
board. We had some guys that stayed pretty short, wasn't they? They were
Yeah.
young guys that they thought it was gonna be great, but they had family and young family, and they wasn't, you gotta remember that you gotta hang in there if you're elected.
I'll
So,
be around.
but anyway, the board's been good. We always agreed. Sometimes we disagreed, but we come back together to agree. Yeah, that's good. Everybody's gotta have a different opinion, just a little bit.
Yeah, you only last 8 years if you're the child of an alcoholic.
That's right. That's very true. Okay, do I have a motion to adjourn?
You do.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Got my name?
Thanks, Jim.